doing these videos, I had a series in mind of what I was going to do. There were certain topics I wanted to cover that were going to be for all time. I mean, kind of videos that you could watch at any point. Um, but events keep happening so fast. It's if it wasn't so tragic, this is would be cable news dream right now. The Trump administration and everything going on with it. The first thing I have to do though is I have to make sure to acknowledge that I'm doing these video logs. I'm opening myself up to this. I hate the way I talk. I'm working on that. A lot about myself I don't like, but that's a whole other. That's one of those topics we'll cover. Um, but I'm doing these videos because of Pod Save America. Um, John Lovett, John Favreau, Tommy Vietor, Dan Pfeiffer. I had those podcasts in my list for a long time, and I didn't listen to them for some reason. I was holding back because I knew once I go down the rabbit hole, once I care about something, I care. And the first video of theirs podcast I listened to, within 2-3 minutes, I was like, "Yep, these are my guys." I'd go to war with them. I have gone to war with them in a strange way because we are connected. I've been there. I've won an election and I lost an election. And even after I listened to the first podcast, I went on Twitter to make sure. I looked them up. Went on Twitter and was already following all of them through other avenues. But yeah, they're in a lot of ways they are what I want to be. And I even heard another podcast the other day that will remain nameless, and it was another political podcast, or trying to be, and really, they were doing a poor imitation of the guys, and that's really, let's just be honest. That's all this right now. That's all I am. It's just a poor imitation. So yeah, events keep on rolling. I have a whiteboard. What's been happening is I have this whiteboard that I use for notes, and as I'm listening to Pod Save America, as I'm listening to the news, and these things come up, I just I make a note of it. Basically, when a whiteboard's full, I'm like, okay, I need to get this out so I can move on with my life because all of this is in my head. One of the things about Pod Save America and the guys on there, and what intimidated me about the Obama campaign. I worked on the Obama campaign in 2012 in Florida, which I'm very proud of, and the people I worked with and met were extraordinary. I in our main office there, Region 23, I definitely felt like the dumbest one in the room, and that made me feel very good about the campaign. I knew we had a shot if I was the floor, because these people were exceptional, and the guys on Pod Save America are very much like that. I did that video the other week now about the revelation that Sean Hannity was a client of Michael Cohen, which if you told anybody a month ago, anyone would have fallen off their chair. And I was so outraged by that, by that breaking news. I did that video in my car. I can't believe this. And I turned on Pod Save America, and they're laughing about it. And even other things. That was one of the first things that struck me about their podcast is how much they laugh at this stuff. And I think John Favreau was the one who said, we laugh because you don't want to cry. But to me, they're not giving themselves enough credit too. I mean, there's an intelligence there of course this is happening, and of course you need to laugh at it. And that's the thing going forward. is it's all a sideshow. All of this on, especially on Fox News, when it's just right wing on right wing, and that's where we're at right now. We're at a point where we're just waiting for President Trump and Rudy Giuliani and Sean Hannity and Michael Cohen and Fox News to all get their story straight. We're just, there's no need to debate anything yet because they're still working out what their final answer is. Giuliani, now, so he went on, it's all a blur now. I mean, so he went on Hannity that night, and Hannity with that now famous, I didn't know that. That sound of Hannity is just, it stays in my head, and it's a wonderful, it's like a waterfall, just very soothing and makes me smile. So anyway, Giuliani did Hannity that night, then he went on Fox Friends the next morning. And then over the weekend, he was going to do Judge Jeannie, and I was hyped. I was going to watch Fox News. They got me. I'm in. Ended up not watching it, and ended up he was only on there for a total of 8 minutes. So he must have been like, hey, let's just keep this. Let's just give you enough time to get out one version of events and get through this. And then the next morning, he was on George Stephanopoulos, in which he talked about, it's possible the president would take the fifth. It's possible there were other women. This was all just the standard course of events. It's a regular business agreement between a guy and his lawyer and his porn star. See, I'm laughing. It's good. I know it's not. And the thing is that none of this is going to change what's going on with Mueller, what's going on in the courts. The courts, thank God we have the courts. I mean, and that's a whole, the Supreme Court has always been my favorite branch. It's lifetime appointees. It's people that don't have an army, that their only weapon is reason and facts and in writing. Nothing said on TV, nothing said in an interview is going to make any court, any judge anywhere go, oh, okay, oh, totally, my bad, everything dropped. Clearly, all right. Because of that article on, Fox and Friends, Mueller's going to just come out and say, my bad, my bad. So anyway, I know it's a dangerous legal thing to do, and it's not maybe completely fair. But oftentimes when someone or people are being accused of something, I like to try to think, okay, well, what would an innocent person do? Is it possible for an innocent person to be put through this and come out legal? So let's say Donald Trump, 2 months before the election, this lawyer of Stormy Daniels has been hassling his campaign. Now she's got a new lawyer. He's even more aggressive, saying, look, pay is $130,000. Even if, this porn actress comes to him and says, pay me $130,000 or I'm going to tell these people a story about our affair. And I'm the presidential candidate. I'm like, look, this isn't true. Never happened. But they're extorting us. They're trying to get money. They're trying to take advantage of my situation. So what would I do? You know what? I mean, being time sensitive, I would, pay the money to keep it quiet. But also, I would contact the FEC, or, at least file this report as the law requires with the FEC to say, hey, look, I'm innocent, but I got this crazy woman trying to derail my campaign. She said she wanted $130,000 to keep quiet. Obviously it's a campaign expenditure. It's happening during the campaign because of the campaign. I paid her the money. I filed the report with the FEC, and I would contact the FBI, most likely, to let them know, hey, I'm being extorted. Donald Trump didn't do any of that. And going back, because you can forget the context. The reason at the time it seemed like that Michael Cohen initially put the heat on himself was because after the Access Hollywood tape, it was very important for Donald Trump to deny this affair. It's where we're at. It just, you can almost forget the lie upon lie that we're being given. Sarah Huckabee Sanders was, she's the press secretary. And she was asked, I think, Jonathan Karl from the Washington Post asked her, when were you aware that the president was, such a blatant liar? And she answered, well, I found out with all of you last night watching Hannity. She didn't even deny the first half of the question. And no one, yeah, I mean, it really, it really does upset me, I guess. No one is coming out to say that this president is innocent. They're talking that, there's been some heavy-handed tactics, that people are improperly poking their nose in places that doesn't belong. I mean, they're doing a lot of the same defense that Bill Clinton and his spokespeople did. But no one's denying the crime. In Bill Clinton's case, he was a smarter defendant than Trump is. Bill Clinton knew not to involve the office, not to pay off anybody, not to instruct anybody, not to obstruct, or not to at least involve others in obstruction. President Trump, I don't think he planned to win. And he behaved in a way that, I think he thought he would fall off the radar after the election. And, day by day, his business practices are getting revealed. Because now it turns out that this, this LLC that was set up to pay Stormy Daniels evidently had much more money coming through it than just for Stormy Daniels. And there's so much money, none of it adds up. But that's also reassuring in a sense that this, whatever the truth is not going to be revealed on any news program. It's going to be a legal case tried by judges who uphold the law, who have a life term, so they're not trying to get reelected. The courts have gotten much more right than they have wrong. And the other two branches really can't say that. I feel like ending with a quote from The Godfather, which is ironic because every day more and more feels like this is a mafia case, but I believe in America.